The moment someone rejects you, something dangerous begins. Not in them, in you. A door closes, a message gets ignored, your loyalty gets dismissed, your love gets returned like it meant nothing, and suddenly your mind starts begging for one thing it should never beg for again: approval. That is where most people lose their power. But that is exactly where Marcus Aurelius would tell you to begin. Because rejection is not just pain. Rejection is revelation. It shows you who they are, but more importantly, it shows you how quickly you are willing to abandon yourself just to be chosen. And that is the hidden trap. People think rejection hurts because they lost someone, lost an opportunity, lost a place in the room. No, rejection hurts because it attacks the image you had of yourself. It whispers that maybe you are not enough, maybe you were foolish, maybe you were never worthy to begin with. And if you are not careful, you will spend the next weeks, months, even years trying to prove your value to people who already decided not to see it. Marcus Aurelius understood something most people still refuse to accept. Your suffering does not come from the event. It comes from the story you attach to the event. A person says no, and you hear, "I am worthless." A crowd looks away, and you hear, "I do not matter." A betrayal happens, and you hear, "I should have been better, smarter, stronger." But life is colder than that, more honest than that. People reject for reasons that often have nothing to do with your value. They reject because they are blind, afraid, jealous, distracted, broken, arrogant, impulsive, or simply not aligned with who you are. Yet the weak mind always takes rejection personally, while the disciplined mind turns it into information. That is the first lesson. Stop seeing rejection as a verdict. See it as data. The moment you treat every no as a final judgment on your worth, you become a prisoner of other people's moods, standards, and limitations. But when you treat rejection as information, everything changes. You stop collapsing. You start observing. What was this really about? Was it timing? Was it character? Was it fear? Was it incompatibility? Was it my mistake? Was it their weakness? Not every rejection is an injustice, and not every rejection is a loss. Some are protection, some are redirection, some are exposure, some are the hand of reality pulling you away from a place where your spirit would have rotted. Reverse psychology begins here. What if the rejection was not humiliating you? What if it was freeing you from the need to be accepted by the wrong thing? The second lesson is brutal. Never chase what retreats from you in contempt. This is where people destroy themselves. They think persistence is strength, but many times persistence is just desperation wearing a heroic mask. You call again. You explain again. You try harder. You lower yourself. You become more available, more forgiving, more patient, more impressive, more useful, more silent, more loud. Whatever it takes to make them turn around. But the more you chase, the more you teach the world a dark lesson about you, that your self-respect is negotiable. Marcus Aurelius would tell you that the soul becomes stained by what it willingly kneels before. If someone rejects you with clarity, receive the truth with dignity. Walking away is not weakness. It is the refusal to auction your value to an unwilling audience. And here is the twist nobody tells you. The less you chase, the more powerful your presence becomes. Not because silence is a trick, but because silence reveals who depended on your effort. The moment you stop forcing contact, the truth comes out. If they cared, they reach. If they respected you, they notice. If they only enjoyed your pursuit, they disappear. This is reverse psychology at its purest. By not reacting, you force reality to speak. And reality, when left undisturbed, always exposes people. The third lesson is this: let rejection cleanse your illusions. Sometimes the pain is not that they left. The pain is that you had imagined a future that never truly existed. You were not grieving what was real. You were grieving what you hoped it would become. That is why rejection can feel like death. Not because something solid was taken from you, but because a fantasy collapsed in your hands. Marcus was a man surrounded by power, war, disease, betrayal, and death. He knew that attachment to fantasy makes the soul fragile. If you want peace, you must learn to love truth more than hope. Love reality, even when it insults your dream. Love the clear answer, even when it burns. Love the exposed truth, even when it ruins the story you wanted. Because fantasy is sweet, but fantasy makes you easy to control. The fourth lesson is where strength begins to look almost cold. Do not rush to explain yourself to those who have already chosen misunderstanding. This is one of the most painful mistakes intelligent people make. They think if they can just say it better, more softly, more clearly, more deeply, they can undo rejection. They think the right words will rescue the bond. But many people do not misunderstand you by accident. They misunderstand you because it gives them power. It lets them stay innocent while making you carry the burden. It lets them reject you without feeling cruel. And so you talk and explain and clarify and bleed your inner world into their hands while they stand there unmoved. Marcus would call this a waste of life. Why perform your soul before those committed to blindness? There is great power in no longer defending your reality to people who profit from distorting it. The fifth lesson is hidden in the ego. Rejection exposes where your identity was outsourced. If a stranger's opinion can destroy your day, if one person's absence can erase your confidence, if one refusal can make you question your destiny, then some part of you was built on borrowed approval. That is the terrifying truth. Many people do not know who they are without applause, validation, or being desired. They are calm only when chosen. They feel powerful only when admired. They feel real only when mirrored. But what kind of power is that? That is not inner peace. That is emotional dependency. Marcus Aurelius trained himself to return again and again to the one territory no one could invade without permission, his own judgment. This is why rejection can become a gift. It reveals every place where you built your throne on another person's consent. And once you see that, you can rebuild on stone. The sixth lesson is that dignity is a weapon, not the noisy kind, not the dramatic kind, the dangerous kind. The kind that makes people feel your absence long after they dismissed you. There is something unforgettable about a person who does not collapse under rejection, does not beg, does not curse, does not seek revenge, does not turn bitter, but simply becomes sharper, calmer, more disciplined, more complete. That kind of response unsettles people. Why? Because most of the world feeds on reaction. They expect tears, panic, rage, obsession, pleading. They know how to handle chaos. But composure? Composure is hard to manipulate. Composure makes people question themselves. It creates mystery. It creates weight. And sometimes the strongest reverse psychology is not making someone come back. It is becoming so grounded in yourself that whether they come back or not no longer matters. The seventh lesson is a warning. Never use rejection as proof that the world is against you. This is how bitterness is born. A few wounds, a few betrayals, a few doors slammed in your face, and suddenly you build a philosophy out of your pain. You start saying people are fake, love is weakness, trust is stupid, kindness is for fools. But Marcus would never respect that kind of surrender. Stoicism is not emotional paralysis. It is disciplined perception. It is the refusal to let suffering turn into poison. Rejection should make you clearer, not crueler. Stronger, not smaller. Wiser, not colder in the dead sense. There is a kind of person who turns pain into depth, and another who turns pain into a personality. Be careful which one you become. The 8th lesson is where rejection becomes fuel. If they underestimate you, let them. If they overlook you, let them. If they pass you over, laugh quietly and get to work. One of the deepest forms of reverse psychology is refusing to interrupt someone's low opinion of you while you build a life they can no longer ignore. Most people are addicted to immediate correction. They want to prove themselves now. They want the apology now, the recognition now, the respect now. But the wise mind understands timing. There is no need to argue with those who cannot yet see. There is no need to wrestle a blindfold off another person's face. Your task is not to be instantly understood. Your task is to become undeniable through substance. Let your consistency speak. Let your results embarrass their judgment. Let your peace become the answer they never expected. The 9th lesson is deeply uncomfortable. Sometimes rejection is the consequence of your own lack of discipline. Not every no is unfair. Not every closed door is jealousy, fate, or betrayal. Sometimes you were unprepared. Sometimes you were too needy. Sometimes your standards were weak. Sometimes you ignored signs, crossed boundaries, mistook intensity for connection, mistook desire for compatibility, mistook attention for respect. Marcus Aurelius was ruthless with himself before he was ever critical of the world. That is why his wisdom still cuts through centuries. He did not teach self-pity, he taught self-examination. So when rejection comes, ask the hard question, what in me needs to be corrected? Not to earn back the rejecter, but to refine the self. This is the hidden power. You do not waste pain. You use it. Every wound becomes a mirror. Every humiliation becomes training. Every no becomes a sharpening stone. The 10th lesson is about silence, and most people never learn it. Silence is not empty. Silence is diagnostic. The moment you stop texting, stop explaining, stop offering, stop performing, you discover everything. You discover who only liked the version of you that gave more than it received. You discover who panics when they can no longer feed on your attention. You discover who never intended to meet you halfway. Silence reveals dependency, insincerity, entitlement, and emotional laziness. But it also reveals something else. It reveals you to yourself. Without the noise of trying to be wanted, who are you? What do you think when nobody is clapping? What do you feel when nobody is choosing you? Can you still stand there and say, I remain? That is a rare strength, a terrifying one. Because the person who can remain whole in silence cannot be blackmailed by loneliness. The 11th lesson is this. Rejection is often a test of whether you worship comfort more than truth. To be accepted feels safe. To be approved feels warm. To be chosen feels like proof that life is going your way. But truth does not always come dressed as comfort. Sometimes truth humiliates you before it frees you. Sometimes it isolates you before it strengthens you. Sometimes it strips away the false bond, the false path, the false dream, and leaves you alone with yourself. And that is where most people panic. Not because they are truly destroyed, but because they are finally forced to meet the self they kept avoiding. Marcus would remind you that a person can survive almost anything except a life lived in contradiction with their own reason. Rejection removes what flatters you. Then it asks whether you still know how to live. The 12th lesson is about emotional control, and it may be the darkest one. The person who rejected you may one day return, not because they changed, not because they finally understand your worth. Sometimes people come back because your silence made them curious, your absence made them uneasy, your growth made them hungry, or your peace made them feel the loss of control. This is where many people fail the second time. They confuse delayed attention with regret. They confuse curiosity with loyalty. They confuse loneliness with love. This is where reverse psychology becomes dangerous if you do not have wisdom. Because the goal is not to manipulate someone into returning. The goal is to become so clear that if they return, you can see them without illusion. Marcus Aurelius would never admire a man who survived the first wound only to reopen it himself. When someone comes back, ask not, "Do they want me now?" Ask, "Why now?" What changed in substance, not emotion? Is this return born from truth or from appetite? If you do not ask that, you will call the same poison a blessing just because it arrives in a softer voice. The 13th lesson is the deepest one of all. Rejection is training for freedom. That is the secret. Not success, not revenge, not making them regret it. Freedom. Freedom from needing everyone to understand you. Freedom from tying your identity to outcomes you cannot control. Freedom from bending your character for access, affection, status, or approval. Freedom from the childish fantasy that life will be fair if you are good enough. Marcus Aurelius knew he could not control the empire, the mob, the future, disease, death, or betrayal, but he could govern his own mind, and in that inner government was a power no rejection could touch. Think about how different your life would become if every rejection no longer made you smaller, but made you more exact, more honest, more selective, more disciplined. What if the person who ghosted you did you a favor by exposing your attachment? What if the job you did not get protected you from a place where your spirit would have shrunk? What if the friend who betrayed you forced you to stop confusing history with loyalty? What if the crowd that ignored you saved you from becoming addicted to shallow applause? What if every no was secretly separating you from what only looked good so you could build toward what is actually right? This is where the modern mind rebels. It says, "But I loved them. But I needed that. But I worked for it. But I deserved better." Maybe you did. Maybe you did deserve better. But the universe does not reward entitlement. It reveals reality. And reality does not ask what you wanted. It asks what you will do now. Will you become pathetic in the face of rejection or precise? Will you turn into noise or discipline? Will you chase what has insulted your soul or withdraw your energy and let time expose what was never worthy of it? There is a hidden superiority in the person who can lose access without losing self-respect. Read that again in your bones. Anyone can feel powerful while desired. Anyone can feel calm while accepted. Anyone can feel worthy while the doors are open. But who are you when the answer is no? Who are you when they choose someone else, believe someone else, promote someone else, love someone else, or leave without explanation? That is where character stops being a quote and becomes a fact. That is where philosophy stops being language and becomes blood. And this is why rejection can become your advantage, because it forces a separation between performance and essence. It burns away illusion. It humiliates ego. It tests discipline. It reveals motives. It shows where you are weak, where you are vain, where you are dependent, where you are blind. But if you have the courage to stay conscious in that fire, rejection does something extraordinary. It returns you to yourself, not the version of you that was designed to be accepted, but the version that can survive truth. Most people never experience that version of themselves. They are too busy bargaining with the world, too busy dressing wounds in pride, too busy seeking revenge disguised as healing, too busy trying to be missed instead of trying to be free. They say they want closure, but what they really want is validation. They say they want peace, but what they really want is to be chosen by the one who disrupted it. Marcus would see through that instantly. He would tell you that as long as your peace depends on another person's recognition, you are still in chains. So what is the real reverse psychology here? It is not pretending not to care. It is becoming someone who no longer needs to pretend. It is not playing hard to get. It is becoming hard to wound through discipline, clarity, and self-command. It is not withdrawing to manipulate. It is withdrawing to regain sovereignty over your mind. And the strange result of that inner shift is that life begins to reorganize around you. You become less available to nonsense, less seduced by charm, less impressed by attention, less broken by loss. You stop asking, "Why did they reject me?" and start asking, "Why was I willing to abandon myself just because they did?" That question changes everything, because the deepest wound was never their rejection. It was your readiness to stand trial in a courtroom where they were never qualified to be judge. It was your habit of handing strangers, lovers, bosses, friends, crowds, and doubters the authority to define your worth. And once you take that authority back, the world feels different. Sharper, cleaner, less sentimental, but more peaceful. You stop worshipping outcomes. You start honoring character. You stop trying to force doors. You start becoming the kind of person who can walk away from any door that costs too much of the soul. Remember this when the message is ignored, when the offer disappears, when the invitation never comes, when your effort is dismissed, when your sincerity is met with coldness, when your loyalty is treated like convenience. In that moment, do not collapse. Do not beg life to reverse itself. Do not chase clarity from people committed to confusion. Stand still, breathe, look directly at the wound, and ask what it is here to teach. Then use it. Use the pain to expose attachment. Use the insult to train dignity. Use the silence to reveal truth. Use the loss to recover your center. Because one day, if you learn this well, rejection will stop sounding like an ending. It will sound like a filter. It will sound like a warning. It will sound like truth removing what your emotions were too weak to release. And the day you understand that, you become dangerous in the quietest possible way. You stop needing to win every room. You stop fearing every loss. You stop calling every closed door a tragedy. And you finally understand what Marcus Aurelius knew all along. The world can refuse you, betray you, overlook you, and walk away from you. But none of that has the power to ruin you unless you kneel before it. So let them doubt. Let them leave. Let them misunderstand. Let them choose elsewhere. Let them reveal themselves through rejection. Then do the one thing weak people never do. Take the pain. Take the lesson, take your power back, and walk on as if the no was the beginning, not the end.